Good evening, chat. I've been talking about this on a couple of other streams, but man, it's so annoying because I have an iPhone and I wish I didn't. But I do need it for VTubing. It's got facial recognition and it works really great with the model. I mean, if you don't think the model looks good, that's fine. But like, if I had an actual camera, it would even look worse. I didn't spend a lot of money on the model. I do admit. But the problem with the iPhone, when I got it, it was incredibly expensive. But I was like, I'm going to use it as a webcam. And it's also a phone, and I can take pictures with it. So it's like, fine, whatever. And I didn't get the latest issue that was out back then. I got the one before that, right? So I was a little bit of a cheapskate. But one of the cool features that it had, and one of the things that I actually enjoy iPhone over Samsung, is the fact that the battery lasted. Like, you would get 3, maybe 4 days of battery usage, just nonstop. And now it's getting to the point where the battery is gone in half a day. Now normally that shouldn't be a problem, because I mean, it's been a while, it's been a couple of years, and it's normal for things to break. But here's what pisses me off. If I want to change the battery, no, I gotta change the phone. Like, I gotta change. It's so fucking ridiculous. Because this wasn't the problem back in the day. Like when smart, it's not like the technology to make it so that you can change a phone battery doesn't exist. Because I remember when I used to have, normal phones before these brand phones came out. Like, there was a time where there were, like, many other brands of phones, and you could get, like, a lot of shit. And you could just change the battery. You could just pop open the hood, and you just pick up the battery and buy a new one. And it was cheap, was easy. You didn't even need to go to a repair shop. You could just order a battery at home, and voila. Always have your battery charger between 20 and 80%. It's not about that, man. It's like, as the years pass, it's going to get damaged. It's not going to be as good. Like, it's normal. It's got a shelf life, which is understandable. But what I don't get is, like, why do I need to change my entire phone? And it's not just the battery. Like, any type of damage that your phone has means that you gotta buy a new one. So, I remember a couple of years ago, I was jogging. Yes, like, just actual jogging. No euphemisms. No, but I was a jogger, and I did trip and fall. A little bit silly, I know, but it happens. I think, like, there was a dog. It was like an anti-personnel mine. It was from the bushes, and I'm jogging. It goes like, and I'm like, wow, shit, So I crack the screen of the phone. And it's like, well, okay, like, I cracked the screen of the phone. That's fine. I'll take it to a repair shop. The amount of money to repair the phone was just as much as buying the latest brand on the market from a second-hand store. I'm like, come on. I wasn't a jogger the whole time, but I did jog, yes. I heard it's dangerous to jog in the United States of America. You put your life at risk if you do so. Anyway, one good thing the EU could do is to force phone manufacturers to have replaceable batteries. It's not just the batteries, it's everything. Like, if anything gets damaged in your phone, you're expected to buy a new one. And I guess it kind of makes sense because when I grew up, I remember, like, when a new phone came up, it actually had features that made you want to buy it. So, the first iPhone that comes out, it allows you to listen to music, it allows you to use it as a webcam, sorry, it allows you to take pictures of it, it allows you to talk on the phone, right? And it also had, like, a smart screen, because back then you had, like, all these phones with keys and shit. So it was amazing, right? Like, just huge step in technological advancement. And then the next iPhone, it had other features. And then the third iPhone, you can use it as a webcam. Like basically, you had a reason to buy a new model. Nowadays, they just become bigger and bigger to the point where they look like a tablet. It's like, might as well just buy a tablet if you just give me, like, literally every single new version of the phone is just, like, the same features with a little bit extra. Like, maybe it's got, like, a little bit better resolution. Maybe it's got, like, just a little bit better coloration. And maybe it's supposed to run a little bit faster, but then another thing that they found out, and this was actually hilarious, I think they got sued over it. So, before releasing a new version, I think it was Apple that did it, yeah. Like, before releasing the new Apple, they would release a patch to make the phone go slower. So, like, the phone works slower in order for the new version to look better. Yeah, exactly. Remember when phones were getting smaller and smaller? Like, this is what I don't get. It's like, why did they become bigger? Because if I want bigger, I just get a tablet, right? Like, I get it, you know, it's nice to watch a movie on the phone, it's nice to play some games on the phone, like, alright. But, like, you can't make it too big, because, like, after a while, if you keep making it bigger, it's going to become like a laptop. They slowed your phone if your battery started dying. Oh, I see. Whatever. Watch Louis Rosman talk about this. Most brands don't want to provide replacement parts. The 3D party repairs. Oh, it's not even that. Like, there are some brands that will require you to have like a special type of screwdriver in order to open. And it's like, why do you need a special type of screwdriver to replace a fan? I remember it was a Democrat that actually bitched about this, and it was like one of the rare times that I actually agree with a Democrat senator. It's like, okay, so if you want to replace a fan on your Xbox, like, you need a special screwdriver. Why? Why can't you just use a normal screw? Never allow updates. But yeah, but the thing is, like, and you know, like, this would actually not surprise me if the company is also the one making the malware or the security risk. Because every now and then, I mean, this was actually a recent problem with Windows a couple of weeks ago. They had like a huge security risk if you are using like a special type of IP. I'm not a tech expert, I don't understand. But it was like IP version 5 or some shit. And basically, like, someone could take access to your computer and you had to patch right away. Like all the websites that were talking about tech were saying, yeah, if you have like this type of server, you need to patch right away. So you can't really afford not to patch in many cases. And not to mention, like, there are situations where the company forces you to update. So, I actually saw a YouTube video about this, and it was, like, blowing my mind. So, alright, like, this person bought a TV. Now buying a TV, yeah, IPv6, yeah. Now, buying a TV is not something that, you know, I mean, it's not a big event, but it's not a small event either. It's somewhere in between, especially, like, if you have to drill holes in your room. Right? Like, you gotta carry the TV all the way into your house. You gotta drill holes in your room. You gotta set it up. So, you have, like, people doing this, and now they have a smart TV. And they connect it to the internet, and it works fine for a couple of weeks. And then, oh, software update. Software update. Now, here's the thing. If you don't consent, if you don't update your TV, you can't use your TV. So, normally, in a legal setting, you have to give, like, when you sign a contract, it's supposed to be that you're giving your consent without being coerced. Like, without being forced or anything like that, you just give your volition. But if you buy a TV, and if you don't consent, you can't use it anymore, and you already spent money for it, isn't that like being constrained? And not to mention, apparently, there are rumors, now they're not proven, but there are rumors that the microphone in your smart TV can be recording so that it knows what ads to serve. You know, like shit like that. Which is probably what they required the consent for. Well, Louis Rosman talks about a lot of shit. Have you seen what people said about Tupperware, the company? They went bankrupt because their products were too good and lasted too long for them to continuously grow. Doesn't fucking surprise me if that's the case. I remember there was a similar situation back in the day. This was like early 2000s. I mean, you still have it now, but like back then, it just started and it was so cancerous. Like you would go in a store in the mall, and it was like, we got 20% off, we got 60% off, we got 80% off. You know, like discounts, buy one get one free. Now, what they would do usually before the legislation started cracking down on them, uh, it was illegal to lie. Like you couldn't say that you have a 60% discount. So like what they did is like in the whole store they would have an item like a sock or some shit. And that one would be the 60% discount, but like everything else would be on the same price. Or what they would do is like they would raise the prices. So like they bring in new merchandise, they keep it for a day at 300% the price, and then they lower it to like 150, and they're like, "Oh, we got big sales, guys. We got big sales." So there was a store that apparently didn't do this. Like it actually had like its corporate policy, and it advertised itself that no, we're the honest store. We don't do any of this shit. It went bankrupt. Because the thing is, like when everyone else does it, if you don't do it, you go bankrupt. Because people are stupid. People are stupid, you know, like I mean, in a way, I kind of understand if you have a phone company and everything works and all the products last and then you don't grow, like that's one thing. But like, if you're going to the mall and there is one store that goes out of its way in order to not fuck with you and you don't want to even shop there, like, yeah, well, then you want the stores that fuck with you, don't you? Yeah, eventually in the EU, there is legislation against that. So now they actually have to say on every product, and they have to be upfront. You know, like the EU actually did this. In a way, it protects customers, but in a way, it fucks with industry. Like the reason we don't have social media in the EU, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Like if there is any social media in the EU, let me know. But if you look at the world, you have Silicon Valley, you have China, and then Japan has its own social media. And you even get like social media websites in places like Brazil. Like I was surprised to find out that Brazil has its own Twitter. So like the question is like, why doesn't the EU have the social media? Like where's the German social media? Where's, right? Is the GDPR nonsense. So is the data protection system, which apparently it sounds good on paper, but it's almost impossible for corporations to maintain it unless they're like insanely rich. So in other words, it really is good for Silicon Valley because they don't get competition. Estonia used to have Skype before Microsoft bought it. They probably had to sell because of the GDPR legislation. I mean, look at it now with the AI, right? Like it is so obvious that AI is going to be very influential in the future. Whether you're talking about toys, personal assistant, whether you're talking about businesses where people will use an AI, it's going to be there in some form or another. And China has its own AI. The United States has its own AI programs. The European Union has the first legislation against AI. But that's pretty much it. And it's like, well, hold on a little bit. Anyone can make legislation. Why don't you build your own shit? Vista was a tutorial for people on how to set higher process priority because otherwise it ran like shit. The thing that I noticed, what Windows is trying to do now, and it is very concerning, because like everything that's connected to the internet now is harvesting data in one way or another. And the latest concern that I heard from Windows is that it's got a new Copilot AI program, which is supposed to take screenshots of your screen all the fucking time. And I'm like, well, hold on a little bit. Like, what if I have an ID card on my screen? Because, like, there are situations where, you know, you go on a website and they require you to show government ID. So, like, you take a screenshot of your ID and it's on your computer, right? But it's on your fucking computer. And, like, what if Windows just takes a screenshot of that? What if I have my password saved in a notepad file? Well, what if I have like some personal information or some NDA program that I'm working on, right? And you're taking a screenshot. Now, of course, Microsoft promises to never ever look into that data. And it's fine, but like what if someone gets hacked? Do the hackers have access to it? So like can I opt out? Do I need to have this? And like was there a demand for this? And allegedly it's to help you search better. So to help you search better and to roll back in case like you lose data and shit. It's like I already searched just fine. Screenshot plus OCR with the search. Yeah, but like why would I want a program to constantly screenshot my computer screen when again you can have like some personal documents there. You can have something that you work and it's an NDA thing. You can have like your notepad filled with passwords and stuff. Like, why? Well, it would be good if they're only sharing it with the NSA, because I'm in Romania. I don't care about the NSA, but like, still. It's a common type of database that anyone can use, and people already hacked into it. Oh, great. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, no, I don't like these features. And not to mention, there was another feature with, I believe, Photoshop. Like, at the beginning, Photoshop was just like any other program, right? Like, you take it, you buy it, you install it, you have it, you own it. But then it moved to a subscription fee. So, like, you gotta pay every month in order to be able to use it. And now, their new NDAs is that everything you do, they can use it to train their AI, and on top of that, everything you do, they own. So I'm thinking, like, hold on a little bit, like, there are people who work at Disney, and they work under NDA, like, creating stuff, and you're basically saying, so, like, if they're making, like, the new Frozen movie, like, what, you actually own that now, because they used your software? Like, that's insane. Can you imagine if they do that with the Microsoft Word as well? Like you're Stephen King or you're George R.R. Martin and you're writing a book, and then all of a sudden they say, well, yeah, but like you used our software, so therefore the book is ours? Yes, I will be talking about Dragon Age next. I'm sorry that you got no notice. I don't keep any passwords on my computer or laptop. Listen, I'm not saying there aren't ways to protect you from this. But there are people who do keep their passwords. Like my parents used to keep their passwords on their computer. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, there are people that have private information on their computer because it's a personal computer. Germany, train conductors urged not to check tickets of foreigners to keep the peace. Well, I mean, of course. See, the thing with diversity that I love the most, and you see this in almost every single European country. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. But it's not the diversity itself that's the issue. Because, like, okay, well, now the town is diverse. Don't like it, fucking move. It's like, I can deal with that. But the problem is the censorship that's coming afterwards. The thought policing. The, this type of situation where, oh, so now the train conductor can't check the tickets of one group of people. Okay, well, that means that they're going to check the other group of people more, right? So I need to be an idiot and buy the ticket while other people cannot walk without the ticket. How is that fair? Why? Because I'm not violent? I see. Very interesting. Screw keeping the peace. There was a spicy book author that got locked out of their Google document. Oh yeah, I saw that in the news. It was mainstream news. I think like Metro reported on it. So like there was this lady which was writing erotica. Now I don't know what exactly she was writing, but from what I understand, she was like an award-winning author. So she must be writing some good smooth over there, right? And she had around 100,000 words, which is quite significant, I would say. And she wrote them in Google Docs. And all of a sudden, Google Docs locks her out. and she loses access to her email, like she loses her Google account. But to be fair though, Google does tell you that you're not supposed to use Google Docs for Smooth. So, like, you are warned about that, but like most people don't read the TOS, so they have no fucking idea. But yeah, like you're not supposed to do that. She was upset. The media talked about it, but like, what can you do? Like, she did break the TOS. If you want to know like something even worse though, like this is, like okay, you're talking about a book author. Like, she should have known better. But during the pandemic, there was this documentary, Plandemic. And I haven't seen the documentary, but some people have. And that documentary was flagged so hard off the internet, it wasn't even funny. Like, if you try to upload it in Google Docs, boom, deleted. If you try to send it on Twitter or on other places, boom, deleted. On Discord, I think, even there was deleted. And the reason that I'm concerned is because it shows that if they genuinely wanted, like let's say there was some evidence of significant corruption in the United States, right? Like you have like, I don't know, like some Democrats doing boot sex in the Senate, or you have a video of someone putting cocaine in the White House. You got like some really nasty video that shows evidence of wrongdoing. And let's say they will, like what they can do is they can claim that the video is AI, even though it's not. So they can claim, yeah, it's a forgery. And then it can just be deleted everywhere from the internet, because almost everything is connected online in one form or another. Like, you wouldn't be able to share it. You upload it on YouTube, zooked. You upload it on Facebook, zooked. You put it in the cloud, zooked. And that's like the kind of future that we're heading to. Yeah, I mean, you can use encryption. Obviously, there's ways around it. But, like, the idea is they're not trying to stop the video from being shared, even in small numbers. Like, they don't care if, like, some random person shares the video. They care about the masses of people. What we learn from migrants is that disorderly behavior is that the government is bowing to you. I learned this in school. And I talked about this. But it's absolutely true, and I'll say it again. But like when I was in school, and I noticed this happened to myself, and then as I talked about it, because initially I thought, okay, well, this is just my experience. This is just what's happening to me. It's not something that's it's not something that's everywhere. And then you find out, no, everyone experienced this. Like almost everybody went through what I did. So every school used to have some bullies. And the bully usually was connected somehow. Like their parents may have been working at that particular school, or they maybe have been friends with the teacher, or the bully himself was the son of a teacher, or his mom was shagging another teacher. There were reasons. But usually the bully was connected. And the bully was like a really nasty piece of work, like a cheeky little shit that would go around and actually do physical violence. And you would complain to the teacher, and the teacher would never do anything about it. Like you would say, hey, like this guy is beating my shit. Like, can you ask him to stop? And the teacher would be like, nah. And one day, some students would have enough. Like, one day, some students would get together, and they were like, why are we allowing this cheeky little shit to just do what he wants? And you'd have like 2 or 3 students that were usually not troublemakers. They would usually not cause any problems, but they would band together and they would handle the bully. They would do what the teacher would fail to do themselves. And then the bully would cry, and he would go to the teacher, and all of a sudden the teacher would drop a ton of bricks on those students that were usually behaving, and they usually wouldn't start any trouble. But because they stood up to the bully, then the teachers would finally apply a correction. And, you notice that this is how life is. Pretty much how life is. It's like the people who are violent and the people that break the rules, well, they get a lot more leeway, because, like, it's a lot more difficult to handle a problem person than it is to handle a person that actually respects the law and follows the rules. And one of the perfect social experiments for this was shown to me by a friend of mine who was at university. He was at med school, and this guy, he probably had the screw loose. And when I first saw it, I was so embarrassed, but then I realized that he had the point. And this guy, he wasn't from a wealthy family or anything, which is why he liked making money by placing all sorts of weird bets. So he would like place a weird bet with you, and usually he would win. And that's how he got money to buy beer. So one day he bets with me that he can buy a pack of peanuts, eat a couple of the peanuts, and then ask the money back. And the seller would give him the money back for the pack of peanuts. Right? And I was like, what the fuck? So like, you're telling me you can go to a store and you can buy something, you can open the box, you can eat from the box, and then you can ask your money back. And he goes like, yes. And I'm like, oh, do you know the store owner? He goes like, no. And at that point, I'm like, okay, fine, let's see you do it. Like, how can you possibly do something like this? So he goes to the store, gets the pack of peanuts, opens it, starts eating from the peanuts, and then starts spitting on the floor and says, wow, that these peanuts, they're rancid, they're horrible, they're disgusting. And he starts making a scene. And guess what? The store owner goes like, oh, we're sorry, takes the pack of peanuts, give him back the money. So what did I learn from this? It was a learning experience. If you actually buy a pack of peanuts and you go to the store owner and you apologize and you know what, I made a mistake, I didn't want to buy them. It was an accident. Can I please get my money back? No one is going to give you your money back. Like, if you're nice, if you're following the rules, you're not going to obtain that. But if you're being a cheeky little shit and a troublemaker, and you start screaming, and you start being agitated, then you get your money back. And this was a moment where I lost faith in humanity. Because everything you learn is kind of dismantled at that point. You realize that liars and cheaters will win. And it's not about the peanuts, obviously. Like, no one fucking cares about the peanuts. It's the principle of the matter. It's the essence of the thing. And it's like so fucking unfair, isn't it? And this was like another thing that pissed me off when I was at university. I was studying really, really hard. Especially at med school. Like, I genuinely wanted to get the best grades. But the thing is, like, the exams were quite difficult and I was a little bit older. Because, when you're young, you manage to retain information a lot easier. But I was still managing to do okay, right? I wasn't doing great, but I was doing okay. I'm okay towards great, actually. So, I'm doing that. And then I noticed that other students that are dumber than me, and the reason I know they're dumb is because I'm talking with them during off hours, and, I noticed that they don't know as much medicine as I do, but they're getting better grades. And I'm like, how the fuck? There's no fucking way. Like, okay, so I study hard. I don't go clubbing. I don't go potty. And I get an 8 out of 10. And this other guy, he goes potty. He goes clubbing. And he does the study and he gets a 9. How the fuck is it possible? Why is he getting a 9 and I get an 8? And then I find out because they're cheating. So, I'm not cheating. I'm doing everything fine. And I get an 8. This other guy, he studies for a 6 out of 10, but he manages to cheat and he gets a 9. And again, like, this is disgusting because, like, you're playing by the rules, you're playing fair, you're doing everything right, but the people that know how to cheat the system are the ones that get ahead. Learning the hard way is sometimes the best school in life. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Dragon Age of Consent. Because this is actually hilarious. Now, I don't think I've seen a game that seems to be more woke than Dragon Age of Consent. Apparently, you can have scars on your chest. I'm not fucking kidding, right? No, like try to. God, I don't even know how to say it. Like, this is a fantasy game. They don't have surgeons or anything. They have mages, right? But you can transition from a woman into a man, and you can have your character having the scars on your chest. This is like, how woke is your game? Chest scar level. Like, we have reached the point where the dial is beyond 11. Like I don't know how they did it, you know, because like a dial usually it has like 360 degrees, right? But like they invented an additional dial that breaks reality, and it goes beyond that. And I'm thinking like, okay, there's absolutely no transgender person that cares about this, because if you're trans, and I spoke with trans people, if you're trans and you're male to female, then you're just going to play a female character. If you're trans and you're female to male, then you're just going to play a male character. No one wants to play a character that has chest scars. And you don't even get to see them, by the way, because the character is dressed up. Like, this is virtue signaling at a level that I thought it's humanly impossible. Yes, you have transition scars in the game. And here's the other thing. Like, imagine you're making a game for furries. Right? And instead of, like, having actual furries in the game, you're putting humans that are cosplaying as furries. And you have the audacity to tell your corporate people, it's like, yeah, no, this is what sells. This is what people want. And if anyone disagrees with you, you're going to get them fired. Because, like, the reason that this even gets out is that the people at the companies, the developers, the artists, they are scared shitless to step up and say the truth. To step up and say, yeah, no, hold on a little bit. This is mental retardation. Like, I get it, but, like, you as a diversity consultant, you know you're not needed anymore. Like, we have already reached the woke level that's acceptable. Like, anywhere beyond this, and it becomes ridiculous. Apparently the game allows you to have cellulitis. To create your character with cellulitis. It allows you to create your character with vitiligo. Do you know what it doesn't let you do? It doesn't let you have a breast slider to have some big fat Nicki-like tits. And it also doesn't allow you to have like a big ass. Like, those are still haram. But like, apparently what people want, what gamers really want nowadays, is chest scars, cellulitis, and skin disease. This is, you know, like this is the fantasy of so many people. Like, God, I wish I was in a fantasy world with cellulitis and scars. That's what I dream about. That's my fantasy, right? When I'm... And the thing is, like, the only people that ever are championing this, because, like, you know, I go and I watch various streamers, because sometimes I'm genuinely curious. Is it just me that's upset about this thing? Like, am I in an echo chamber? Am I the only one that thinks this way? So I go and I watch streamers. I actually watch various streamers. I watch middle-aged men, like Dr. Disrespect and Hassan Piker and all the other Twitch streamers. And I don't watch their streams, but I just watch their takes on it. I watch the Aspen Golds. I just want to see what their take is on it. And I don't watch Dr. Disrespect anymore because of reasons. But before that, I used to watch him. And I'm just like, okay, what is their take on the game? And I watch women as well. I watch female streamers, and I also watch VTubers, and I just want to see, like, what are their takes? What do they think? And when it's Stellar Blade, all the women were like, oh my god, oh, she's so pretty. Oh, I want to cosplay her. Oh, wow, like, that's such a nice design. And no one thinks that having scars for a chest is a nice design. Like, no one wants that. Dude, it's fantasy. Why would I want to have cellulitis in fantasy? The fuck is wrong with you? Who wants that? And they want you to pay $120 for the opportunity. Like, this is mental illness at another level. Like, the level of detachment from reality is astonishing. Again, you think that people want to pay $120 so that they can fantasize themselves about having cellulitis. Now, the reason they do it is they're very outspoken, is they want to change morality. They're not there to provide entertainment. They want to change morality. They want to change societal biases. So if cellulitis exists in every game, then people will find cellulitis appealing. They will think that... But the thing is, like, everyone knows cellulitis is normal. You don't know what cellulitis is? Get a girlfriend. Like, everyone knows that cellulitis is normal, just like everyone knows that pimples are normal. But you don't fantasize about having pimples. Hi V, hope all is well. Glad you like the art cover. I do love the art cover. No, but seriously, it's like, there are certain things that are normal, but like the whole idea of fantasy is to fantasize, right? So you're fantasizing about stuff that's not normal. Like being a muscular person and fighting off a dragon is not normal. It's fantasy, it's make-believe, and it's relaxing for most men. But they're like, no, what if you're fat, and instead of the dragon, you're fighting white supremacy and Donald Trump? And you're like, well, but that's like real life, isn't it? For a lot of liberal people. You're not actually trying to push a game, you're just trying to get other people to play your lifestyle. I hear about how Square Enix upset only sold 3 billions in their latest Final Fantasy game worldwide. And they think it's because the game wasn't woke enough. Well, the thing with Square Enix, and I'll be honest, they had such leftist takes that I just stopped caring about their games. Like, I'm like Goku now with Ultra Instinct. I don't even think about it. I don't even analyze it anymore. If I see that the company is going out and they're having some woke takes, I just don't buy their games. Like, CD Projekt Red recently is having, it's very proud of championing this scholarship, but only for women. Like, if you're a man, they're not going to give it to you. And I'm like, look, I have a son, and I don't appreciate the fact that you're discriminating like this towards men. There's no justification. Like, if you have a scholarship for impoverished or needy people, that's one thing. But if you're just going to be discriminating on any sort of ways that people are born, then I'm not going to support your product. I don't care if it's the best product. At the end of the day, it's just entertainment, right? You're not giving food. You're not giving electricity. You're not giving drinking water. So I can actually choose to stay ignorant longer than you can stay solvent. Thank you for the buyer's remorse, GDA79. Wow, 20 months. Subscribe. Jesus. What's up with Dragon Age saying that it's inspired by The Sims, but the character creator doesn't have the innovation of The Sims 4? Oh my god, like The Sims. I haven't heard about that game. And they also ruined that game as well. I used to be a fan of The Sims. I was ashamed to admit because it's mostly like a women game. If you think about it, like, Sims is like a video game that's a dollhouse. It really is. It's Dollhouse the video game. It's why so many women play it, if you think about it. But yeah, like, you build your dollhouse and you have, like, Ken going out with Barbie. And yeah, that's pretty much the game. I will read your super chat, Nightmare. I'm sorry if I missed it. But let me finish my train of thought, because then I will forget. So, well, fuck it. You know what? I want to read Nightmare's super chat now, because if I forget his super chat, that's More important than my train of thought. Can I have an unclit? No, you can't. Or maybe you can. I don't know. I haven't played the game. But yeah. So The Sims was a dollhouse. And the whole thing with the dollhouse in the beginning was that it was very difficult to maintain your Sims happy. Like if you played Sims 1 or Sims 2, and I think even in Sims 3 this was a certain part, but like your Sims were always needing something. If they weren't hungry, then they needed to go to the toilet. If they didn't need to go to the toilet, then they weren't happy that the place around them isn't clean. They needed a shower. They always needed something. And balancing this up was actually the interesting part in the game. It was the gameplay. But then they casualized the game so much that in Sims 4, you can actually play and you don't notice that your Sims need anything. Like you feed them and you give them a shower and then they're happy. I don't know what they did. They tinkered with the sliders. They tinkered with the happiness system. But it's a lot easier to make Sims happy. And once they're happy, they're content for a lot longer in the latest Sims. And the thing is, like, when you play like that, you manage to immediately climb the ladder. So you're going to work, you're immediately, like, climbing the job ladder. You're making friends with everyone. It's very easy because your Sims are happy all the time. So they get that happiness boost. And then you buy everything that you can have. And that's it. So the main problem is, like, they keep adding patches and they keep adding DLC. I think, like, they have thousands of dollars worth of DLC now. Where if you want to buy the whole game, you actually need to spend a small fortune of it. Even more expensive than most gacha games. And once you have everything, then there's no point in it. Like, it's so fucking boring. And, they ruined it by trying to cater to the wider audience. Because they were like, well, players lose their focus, they lose their attention if the game is too hard, so we're just going to make it easier. The main reason to get The Sims 4 is the porn mods. Jesus, they have that? I don't know. Like, I jumped ship when they started adding pets and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, now they're just milking the dead cow. Like, they're finding a way to necromance that to life. All Sims DLC cost $2,000. Oh, there we go. In The Sims, you can easily change the shape of the Sim to how you like it. The last controversy that I heard about The Sims is that they were race swapping the Goths. So, like, the Goths were this family that you would have in your neighborhood in the start. And one of the things that they did was to race swap them so that they can generate some controversy and have people talk about other things than how expensive and shit their game is. You can actually create beautiful Sims. But I'm pretty sure that if they made Sims now, and they use, like, the Dragon Age system where they can have, like, scars and shit. Although, like, to be fair, in The Sims, it would actually make sense to have, like, chest scars, right? Like, it's a different game. It's not a fantasy game. It's a dollhouse. So you want to play with the guy that surgically removed his tits. Okay, perfect. But in Dragon Age, they don't have medicine. Like, they have magic. It makes no fucking sense. Like, what's next? Adding the BMW with the heated seating and shit? It's just... I don't think you can have cellulitis in Sims. But you can have a Sim that's aged. So it's not... Again, like, in some cases it makes sense if you slide stuff in, but in other senses it's just like woke. In other games it's just like woke and it doesn't fit. There's no fucking reason why in a medieval fantasy you would have people that have the medical knowledge of removing breasts. Like, let's think about it. They would need to have anesthetic, right? So they would need to know anesthetic. They would need to know how to sterilize medical equipment. Like, the medical knowledge would be at least beyond 1950. They would need to have the proper tools. They would need to have imagery. Like they would need to have all the imagery that they would need to be able to tell based on the person's heart condition if they can be operated or not. Like it doesn't make any single fucking logical sense. But they push it in. They fucking push it in. It's for no reason. You know. You think that in ancient times they did not have mutilation? Oh, yeah, well, they did. But it was for different reasons, and usually it wasn't voluntary. Like, for instance, the Islamic Empire would castrate slaves, right? Or the Ottoman Empire would have eunuchs. Now, obviously, no one would want to become a eunuch, and, they wouldn't use that aesthetic or anything like that. But this is not what Dragon Age is trying to represent. Because if they did, that would be different, right? But, like, no, they're not trying to do that. They're basically suggesting that the person is trans. And they managed to get a medical procedure that shouldn't be available during that particular time period. Like, it would make sense if it was in Cyberpunk. It would make sense if it was, like, in Star Trek or anything. Well, actually, not even in Star Trek, because they would probably have the technology to heal the scar tissue. Yeah, the Italians had castrati. Oh my god, like that was so fucking horrible. Holy shit, that is like probably one of the darkest things in Italian history. So, for those of you who don't know, castrati were young boys that were sent to the opera, and they would castrate them from a young age so that they can develop without testosterone, and so that their voice can sing at levels that the male voice can't reach. Kind of like me, they would have a squeaky voice like myself. And to do this to a person, it's just like the most atrocious thing imaginable. But, granted, they were very famous. They were kind of like Varys from Game of Thrones, right? So they had status, they had fame, but the question is it worth it? And I think no. Yeah, castrati were the guys who sing at the opera, yeah. And they were usually like chubby men. Or very chubby men, and allegedly they had beautiful voices. I never heard one of them, but yeah. Why not just hire a woman to sing? Oh, because like back then they actually believed that the person playing the part has to look the part. So if you're playing a guy, well, it has to look like a guy. And they believe that a beautiful singing voice in some situation has to be closer to a woman's. So that's why. That is why V thinks castratis is so horrible. Yeah, they were taking my jobs. Like, I could do the job of a castrati without having to get my nuts chopped off, so. Oh my god. Still can't believe, like, can you imagine? Like, imagine working at a company and you're selling out a product and it's like, yeah, we're going to sell it so that, no, we don't have breast sliders, but we do have cellulitis. And no one is telling them, like, no one from that company is telling them. Don't you think that's a bad idea, though? Apparently, people at Microsoft, from what I'm speaking with insiders, they're very demoralized. They're not confident that Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to do well. And I'm like, wow, how do you guys figure that one out? I'll probably listen to Alejandra Moreski sing after the stream, because if I listen now, it's almost guaranteed to get me a community guideline, a copyright violation. I could do the job of a castrati without having to get my nuts cut off, but it's true. In fact, I was wondering if I should start smoking, like it would lower my voice. Why Microsoft? Isn't that Ubisoft? Didn't I say Ubisoft? I meant Ubisoft. I didn't want to say Microsoft. No, Ubisoft is worried. What's interesting is that they suggested that the Japanese people aren't upset about Yasuke, about the Assassin's Creed Ksa. Because there was like this Japanese expert that said that no, like Japanese people are happy. So people looked into this expert, and it's like one of the articles. It's like, why Japan needs to acknowledge its colonial past. And I'm like, oh, Japan needs to acknowledge their colonial past, you cheeky little shit. What else does Japan need to do, huh? What else? Tell the Japanese man. What else must he acknowledge? Oh, he needs to acknowledge that you're hot shit and that you kuso words of wisdom out of your ass, huh? God. I literally had 10 ads on this live. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Why though? Because I turned it the fuck off. It used to ask me. It's like, do you want your viewers to see an ad? And I would be like, hey. But now it doesn't even ask me that. So get this. YouTube is now having a feature, which I think is the most dumb feature ever implemented. Both from the user and the person buying the ads. Oh shit, my troll died, so hold on. I need to hide the troll. The thing is, like, if you pause the video, ads still play. And I'm thinking, wow, this is like the worst feature imaginable. Because number one, usually people pause a video when something happens, like your phone rings, your delivery guy arrives, someone's at the door, you know? Maybe my wife walks in and she's talking to me, so I need to pause the video to listen to her, right? Now imagine you're pausing the video and another video plays. Like, what do you do in that situation? And the answer is simple. You close the entire browser, right? Like, you press the X button. Now, the reason this is stupid is because the way it works, and this is just like basic bitch human psychology. The way it works is that most people will pause the video. They will do whatever they need to do, right? Like, you talk with your wife or you speak with the person on the phone, and then you go back to the video. But if you actually close the website altogether, well, what most people are going to do is they're going to be like, okay, well, what else should I be doing? Oh, play a video game or something. So you actually risk now losing people. So it's not good from a user experience. It's not good for the website. Now let's talk about the advertiser, right? Like the person actually buying the ad. So I have a product. I want people to experience my product, and I'm going to buy ads for it. Perfect. Now imagine if some of those ads that I pay for are being displayed on monitors from people who stop the video. What do people do when they pause the video? Well, they leave the room. They talk on the phone. Like, they're not going to pay attention, right? So, like, normally when you buy ads, you do expect that not everyone is going to watch them. Not everyone is going to care, obviously. But at least you hope that it's not someone that pauses the video, because that guarantees the person isn't going to care. True, I've got back to gaming now instead of watching YouTube. Yeah. I'm not deleting this live stream. I didn't show anything copyrighted. The only times I delete the live streams is if they get demonetized, because it breaks the algorithm. Again, YouTube is all about ads now. So if you get the yellow dollar icon, then it actually puts you lower in the algorithm. So I do delete those videos, and it's very rare that it happens, but it does happen every now and then. And the other time I delete it if I show something that's copyrighted, which shouldn't be. But like, let's say I show something and I do a react on it and the person copyrights it anyway, then I just delete it. I don't want them to take money. There we go. So usually I don't delete the streams, but it does happen every now and then. They should back up on Rumble automatically. Like, I'm already subscribed to Rumble, and every single time I upload the video, it should get there as well. Targeted ads are stupid. I don't need an endless supply of carpets. Well, I guess, but like, non-targeted ads can be even worse, so... Why do you delete those videos? Because of the algorithm, I already explained. Like, you notice when you walked in, a lot of people were saying, I didn't get a notification, I didn't get a notification. That's because of the algorithm. So the algorithm actually notifies your subscribers. Now, most of my subscribers on this channel do not get notified. And the reason I know this is because they're coming up here in the chat and they're basically saying, I didn't know you were live streaming. I was checking manually and then I saw. So I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about that. And if you upset the algorithm, you get even less people. The generic grocery store ads are a bit weird. I already know where to buy food. They're not trying to get you to buy food from their store, right? Like, there's two types of ads. The first type of ad is to make you aware that a product exists. So, you're sitting there and you see an ad for an anime or a video game and you didn't know that exists, and now you want to check it out. So that is like the first type of ad. The other type of ad is like ads for Coca-Cola or McDonald's. Like, you already know that these things exist. Everyone knows that these things exist. But like, when you see someone opening the Coca-Cola bottle and they're drinking from it and it's a hot summer day, well, now you're like, oh shit, I wish I had a bottle of Coke. Maybe I should order one. Or if you see someone eating McDonald's, right? By the way, the Japanese yet again made the commercial with the family at McDonald's, much to the distress and horror of the Westerners. But like, that commercial is so fucking good because it has a family eating at McDonald's. So like, it also banks on the nostalgia. Like, for me, it's very nostalgic because my mom passed away. And, like, reminding myself of the time that I went with my parents at a restaurant and we were all together as a family, that's really powerful. So you see that commercial, it's just like, it's fucking with your brain in such an amazing way. And now it's like, oh, now when I walk past the McDonald's, I'm thinking that commercial, and it's like, kind of like, makes you want to go in there. And of course, like, once you go out with your son and your family, it's going to create different memories, so the commercial is going to hit differently. It's really powerful, which is why the West absolutely despises it, because it's not a queer commercial. So in the case of a grocery store, right, it reminds you that maybe you should go back to shopping. Like, it reminds you, hey, have you done your shopping for this week? So you see people buying the stuff at the grocery store in the commercial, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I should buy a salad or something. And when you start buying that, you're like, oh, let's look at the other list of things to buy. Because here's the thing, well, don't you do your shopping for a week? I mean, some of the things you can't buy for a week, but like, usually I do buy enough meat to last me for a week. Yeah, I put it in the freezer. Is it weird? Are you not supposed to do that? I don't know. Whatever. Here's the thing. Ever since you have like Uber drivers and shit, I noticed that people don't buy like they used to. Like, the consumerism accelerated. So like, back in the day, people would have like, and they still do in some places. They would have like a neighborhood store. And they would go to that store probably every day on their way from work or on their way to work. And they would buy some necessities. Like, maybe they would buy a pack of ciggies. They would buy a loaf of bread. Whatever it is. But now people go online and they go to these shopping places and they buy a lot more than they should. Or they go to these supermarkets and, like, you don't just go to the supermarket to buy a bread and a pack of ciggies. Like, no, you're going to buy a lot of shit. So people end up buying and spending money a lot more than our grandparents did. People don't go to the market daily in the morning? No. Jesus. Every day? Holy shit. No, like, what we do, though, is there are certain things that we buy once every 2 or every 3 days. So it depends how much you eat. Like, if you buy a big bread and you hold it in the fridge, it can last for like 2 or 3 days just fine. I wish I had a big freezer box. Yeah, I have a freezer box. Yeah, at Kaufland. Yeah. It notified me for Dev, but not for you. See, Dev actually deletes his stream. Dev deletes his streams as well. A lot of content creators delete their streams. I know that Arch does. I know that Dev does. I don't know if Sargon does, but like, to be honest, he doesn't upload that much anymore. So. Asians go shopping every single day. I see. Yeah, I mean, some of the things that I have, I do shop every day. Um, like for instance, buying bread. Yeah, like that's the one thing that usually spoils, and you consume it right away. But like, if I go to the store and I buy a week worth of meat, so I buy some hamburgers, I buy some sausages, I buy some steak, right? And I buy some French fries that are frozen. Why would I go shopping the next day? Like I already put them in the fridge, and they're going to be just fine for the next 5 days. So why do I need? Huh? Anyway, right. I'll end it here. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.